call the meeting to order. Everyone please rise for the invocation and the pledge.
Dear Heavenly Father, we are very thankful for all the blessings you have given us. The abundance of rain our fields so needed. The breaks in between the rains for planting and the rain after to open up the seeds. Your timing is awesome. We pray for Marley as she continues her walk in life. She will be missed. We pray for you to be with us tonight as we make decisions for our county. Let us not be prideful in our decisions, but humbly work for all the people. We are so blessed to be living in a country where we have so many freedoms. Thank you, Lord. Please help us work together with peace to our constituents and honor to your name. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ask the clerk to please call the roll.
John McCoy.
Here.
Tim Finley.
Here.
Robert Rich.
Here.
Brad Poulter.
Here.
David McCleary.
Here.
Les Post.
Here.
Teresa Bachhold. Joe Zenger.
Here.
Brent Fisher.
Here.
Todd Dusterhouse.
Here.
Brett Austin.
Here.
Keith Calloway.
Here.
Mark Sorensen.
Here.
Barb Fletcher. Ryan Heatcamper.
Here.
Dave Bellis.
Here.
Marvin Kirkhoff.
Here.
Mark Dietrich. Steve McQueen.
Here.
Travis Cooley.
Here.
Kent Snyder.
Here.
18 here, 3 absent.
18 here, 3 absent. I declare quorum. I'd like the clerk to make note that Ms. Fletcher, Mr. Dietrich, and Ms. Bachhold are excused. Before we get started, I have a award presentation for Marley. Would you please come forward? The most fun part of the job and the most hated, right? Marley's been with us for 5 years, been payroll, and it's a tough job. She's in charge of everyone's money, and things are just a year or two off. Marley caught a lot of heat, but she hung in there and got us through Paycom, got it all set up. Should run real well, and it's thanks to her and her efforts, and we do appreciate her. So Marley, thank you for your passion and commitment to the Adams County Board. All right. No request to speak. I entertain a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve minutes as printed.
Motion by Mr. Deusterhouse. Second by Mr. McQueen. Any additions or corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are approved as printed. Transportation, Building, and Technology, Mr. Bellis.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Your committee met tonight at 6 o'clock in the law library. We approved the bills. They seem to be in order. We had a report from the Highway Department about a auction they're having, and it's going to be on Purple Wave without reserve. So I don't have the date on it, but there's several, like a 15-foot Schulte bat wing, a 12-foot bat wing, tandem truck without any snow removal extras, pavement grinder for a backhoe because we have one for a skid loader, and about 1,000 feet of composite fence with hollow posts that are no longer needed. So anybody's welcome to look it up on Purple Wave. We had a report from maintenance. Terry Bauer, they finished courtroom 2B as far as mold remediation. The flooring underneath the carpet was tested for asbestos, came back clear. We approved that bill last month. 2B is done in 3 weeks, and the judge's chamber needs a couple pieces of trim put down, but that'll be done too. Moving right along with the schedule next month, courtroom either 1B or 2A, depending on the court schedule, is on schedule for their carpet and mold remediation. Painted the walls, scrubbed them down, took out the pews, put them back, and I'd like to thank Terry Bauer. He comes in on nights and weekends. All the employees were notified to stay out of the courthouse for that weekend, and Terry kind of tackled that on his own. The rest of the maintenance team kept up during the week with all the other maintenance in the building, so I'd like my hats off to them guys. IT had some bills tonight. We approved them. One was pretty healthy for the renewal of the cameras and door locks, stuff like that. That went up because we added extra cameras, but he has the money in his budget to cover it. Resolutions, if the clerk could call out A, please.
Resolution number 2024-05-501-015, resolution reporting bids and awarding the contract for May the 7th, 2024 letting of section 20-18155-00-RR Northeast Road District for 3 at a grade railroad crossing improvements for using grade crossing protection funds.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Bellis, second by Mr. Post. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is approved.
Clerk call B. Read B.
Resolution number 2024-05-501-016, resolution reporting the bids and awarding the contract for May 7, 2024 county motor fuel tax letting, maintenance letting for Cape Sealing County Highway 24 East 2400th Street in a portion of County Highway 14 East 2903 lane.
Motion to approve.
Second. Mr. Post, second by Mr. McCleary. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is approved.
C, please.
Resolution number 2024-05-501-017, resolution reporting the bids and awarding the contract for the May 7, 2024 county motor fuel tax letting for resurfacing on County Highway 55 North 52nd Street.
Motion to approve.
Second by Mr. Bellis, second by Mr. McCleary. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution approved.
D, please.
Resolution number 2024-05-501-018, resolution reporting the bids and awarding the contract for the May 7th, 2024 county motor fuel tax maintenance letting for seal coats on various county highways.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Bellis. Second by Mr. Zanger. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is approved.
E, please.
Resolution number 2024-05-501-019, resolution reporting bids and awarding contract to County Contractors, Inc., Quincy, Illinois, and then a sum of $270,311 for removal and replacement of the existing deck beams with the necessary bridge approach adjustments and other auxiliary work located on TR 495 Turtle Lake Road, approximately 2.5 miles south of Quincy, Illinois, known as Melrose Road District, Section 23-16119-01-BR from May 7, 2024 Township Bridge Program Fund letting.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. McCleary. Second by Mr. Hincamper. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Resolution is approved.
F.
Resolution number 2024-05-501-020, resolution to amend the Adams County GIS Fund budget.
What?
Oh, I'm sorry, I looked at the wrong one. That's you. That's you,
You got
Brad.
me there.
We have ordinance number 2024-05-001-012, an ordinance to add the territory to the Quincy Adams Brown County Enterprise Zone and amend the Quincy Adams Brown County Enterprise Zone intergovernmental agreement.
Motion by, who made the motion? Mr. Zanger, second by Mr. Hincamper. Any discussion?
We had a little bit of discussion at finance last night. Mr. Hincamper was at the meeting, correct?
Yes.
Any comments about this or anything that happened at the meeting that would, be notable?
Nothing of note that we haven't already discussed, but essentially this is United Alloy asking for an extension in the enterprise zone to add on, I think it's 200,000 square feet. So what, $30 to $40 million project. They're gonna add 100 new jobs. In return, they get a 10-year property tax abatement. So I think last night we figured it was something to the effect of approximately a $3.5 million investment by the county over 10 years to add 100 jobs. It comes out to about $35,000 a job. Each job, though, is going to, even if I don't know, I did the math on it today. If each job was on the low end of $40,000 job, which is, I expect it to be higher than that, the county would still net $3 million at the end of 10 years. So if you want to do your own math, have at it.
So it's 10-year commercial property tax abatement.
Correct.
Okay. And the building was somewhat of like a $40 million building or something?
60.
It was something, I don't know the exact number on that. I don't remember.
Chuck's here.
Yeah, Chuck's over here.
Mr. Bevelheimer,
40 million, yeah. So,
and 100 jobs.
and 100 jobs.
Okay. And what's the stipulation that they can or can't protest their assessment at the end of this?
It was my understanding that at the end of the 10-year abatement that they're not supposed to protest the value, but is it? So they could seek an appeal, but generally speaking, I don't think that happens. But I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, so.
So it's about a $3.5 million tax abatement
Correct.
over 10 years.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other questions?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, I do have a few questions, maybe probably for Mr. Bevelheimer. What's the commitment for United Alloy as far as the 100 jobs, as far as what kind of commitment is that?
They will be entering into a memo of understanding that's required as part of the enterprise zone program. So that'll be upfront requirement when they come in and file for the building permit to seek the sales tax exemption on the building materials, as well as the property tax abatement. They enter into a memorandum of understanding with the city of Quincy enterprise zone program to report annually their employment.
Thank you, Mr. Bevelheimer. And then a few more questions. I've had some residents nearby ask some questions with regards to that industrial site regarding lighting. Just regarding the industrial site, would you be able to address that, please?
Hang on just a second. Let him get up here from the microphone.
You're so lucky, Chuck. You get grilled at 2 different meetings.
Yes, that's a good question.
We're the nicer
Am I on here?
You're on.
Okay, we did meet with the neighbors, and it was more, and Mr. Frankenoff was at that meeting when we talked about where that site would go on the 40-acre tract. I believe they actually have a total of 60 acres just east of the Ellington Industrial Park, south of Ellington Road. We really don't know the exact location where they're going to build the 200,000 square foot footprint for a building. The neighbors to the north and east in the rural subdivision have made it clear to us that they want to be mindful of the impact that light would have on their properties. And so obviously we told them we'd look at that as part of the site plan review and that we'd invite them to the meetings. So that's the best we can do without knowing where the site's going to be.
And probably just a follow-up question, just related to same issue, only related to noise this time, as far as noise is compared to lighting.
We do not have an industrial performance standard for noise. So there's no zoning code provision that would say, okay, you're making too much noise. I would say that that's one of those issues that we're just going to have to monitor to know whether it's something that's going to be an issue. I think once we have a better understanding where their truck doors would be, dock doors and stuff like that, we can try to figure out if there's ways to mitigate that. Again, If they end up on the 40-acre tract in the southwest corner, that would be ideal, because that's as far away from the residential as you can get on that 60-acre area. But without knowing the topography, the lay of the land, how it drains, that may not be the ideal spot for a building. So that's kind of best I can tell right now, is we'll just have to figure that out once we get a plan. And they don't want to commit to engineering and planning unless they know the project's going to go forward. So they gave us a letter, it's a but-for letter, but for the enterprise zone, they won't move forward with the project.
One last follow-up. What happens if they leave in year 8?
If they leave in year 8, then basically they have their enterprise zone benefits for 8 years and they're gone, and someone else will be moving into the building.
So the infrastructure's there, the building's there, but they have 8 years of tax abatement, and there's no clawback provision or anything, right?
There's no clawback provision.
Do we have a feel for traffic counts on that road and what potential impact, if this would have any significant impact on traffic counts at all?
Tim, no, I can't tell you. I know the numbers. We've asked them those questions, but until we see their design and how it's gonna lay out, I know folks in Ellington Road Industrial Park has talked to the County Highway Department about traffic and what that impact will have on their properties as well further west, but we just don't have a good way to gauge that.
There was less than the total tax districts involved in this, if I remember correctly. Which tax districts does this affect?
This affects Ellington Township Road Commission. It affects the Tri-Township Library District, Adams County. And in terms of the other taxing bodies, the city of Quincy as a municipality, the 4 municipalities in the enterprise zone are City of Quincy, Adams County, Brown County, Mount Sterling. So those 4 have to actually pass an ordinance as well. They're taxing, they're not being impacted by it because it doesn't impact their territory.
And the school district and the park district weren't impacted either?
Yes, I'm sorry, the school district and the park district also have to pass resolutions of support, participation resolutions.
But dollar-wise, they're not affected because of the location of the property?
They're still in the school district territory.
Okay, all right, so they would
The park
be-
district would not be, as an example, not be impacted, but the school district would be, John Wood would be.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Roll call vote.
John McCoy,
Yes.
Tim Finley,
Yes.
Robert Rich,
Yes.
Fred Poulter,
Yes.
David McCleary,
Yes.
Les Post,
Yes.
Teresa Bachhold, Joe Zanger,
Yes.
Brent Fisher,
Yes.
Todd Dusterhouse,
Yes.
Brett Austin,
Yes.
Keith Calloway,
Yes.
Mark Sorensen,
Yes.
Barb Fletcher, Ryan Heenkamper,
Aye.
Dave Bellis,
Yes.
Marvin Kirkhoff,
Yes.
Mark Dietrich, Steve McQueen,
Yes.
Travis Cooley,
Yes.
Kent Snyder.
Yes.
18 in favor, 3 absent.
18 in favor, 3 absent. Ordinance is approved.
Would the clerk call G, read G, please?
Resolution number 2024-05-001-013, a resolution stating Adams County Board supports the creation of the City of Quincy South Tax Increment Financing known as TIF South Redevelopment Project.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Hankamper, second by Mr. Bellis. Discussion.
I believe this is to get approval from all, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but the city wants the whole board to vote on it instead of just our representative that is on the TIF board or committee. So that's basically what this is.
Pretty much.
It's a symbolic vote of approval.
Pardon me?
It's a symbolic vote of approval.
Correct. Any other questions? Roll call vote.
I do.
John McCoy,
I have a question first.
Y'all, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't
Sorry.
have my mic on.
Oh, you didn't have your mic on. I didn't hear you.
Is there any accountability on this TIF? In other words, follow-up when somebody gets it?
when the final results, does somebody check on that?
Mr. Bevelheimer can answer.
Why don't we have Chuck come up as a representative for the checking part?
Yes, annually, the TIF, by statute, the TIF Joint Review Board, which is made up of the taxing bodies, receives a report of how the dollars were spent.
Okay, and after that's completed, there's a run through and a verification that the project's been completed?
Correct.
It's kind
I
of
had
like
a
the one we just
question.
voted for, I
And
believe.
that is,
isn't it?
has the TIF for the southern Cafftown area, has it already been like awarded, or do you have
No.
a candidate?
No. Until the taxing bodies, until we actually submit the information to our consultant to be submitted, and the council has final authorization, the city council, because the city TIF district, they have to approve it, and that information has to be then forwarded to the Illinois Department of Revenue. So that's all has to happen yet. Council's supposed to meet Monday night on the final adoption of the ordinance.
And then how many candidates do you have for the TIF right now?
I don't understand, what do you mean by candidates, projects?
Well, I'm assuming applications for funds.
None. We haven't taken any applications or any projects have been solicited until the TIF gets in place.
Okay. Thank you. Thanks, Chuck.
How many years, remind us again, how many years is the TIF for?
23 years is the life of a TIF.
Okay. I'd also like to add, like the finance committee meeting last night, we estimated this is a $4,000 a year impact potentially on the county.
That is correct.
All right, so we just passed a $3 million tax abatement unanimously, and we're talking about a $4,000 a year use for the community. So just throwing that out there.
Yeah. Okay, I think we'll do a roll call vote.
John McCoy,
Yes.
Tim Finley,
Yes.
Robert Rich,
Yes.
Brad Poulter,
Yes.
David McCleary,
Yes.
Les Post,
Yes.
Teresa Bachhold, Joe Zinger,
Yes.
Brent Fisher,
Yes.
Todd Oosterhouse,
Yes.
Brett Austin,
Abstain.
Keith Calloway,
Yes.
Mark Sorensen,
Yes.
Bart Fletcher, Ryan Heatcamper,
Hi.
Dave Bellis,
Yes.
Marvin Kirkhoff,
Yes.
Mark Dietrich, Steve McQueen,
Yes.
Travis Cooley,
Yes.
Kent Snyder.
Yes.
17 in favor, 1 abstain, 3 absent.
17 in favor, 1 abstain, 3 absent. TIF is, resolution is approved.
Okay. We're back to me again.
Yes.
New business, I just want to let everybody know we acknowledge the receipt from the Summit Energy Fowler Mixer family for a solar project application. We have to set a public hearing date of June 25th. It will be here in the county boardroom at 6:00 p.m. And then I would like to, I think everybody was emailed the 2 engineering firms that sent us a proposal for the new HVAC system. B and C's kind of running together, like to discuss and create a new HVAC subcommittee. And I'd like to propose members, everybody on the transportation committee, Steve McQueen, Marvin Kirkhoff, and Brad Poulter drew the short straws, and Terry Bauer. I would like to request their help because I would like to get someone from each committee to be involved. And Steve and Marvin were the ones that asked most questions, so I'm picking them. I'm teasing. No, you, short straw.
So Brad Poulter is not on your list in the minutes.
He would be our representative from the finance committee,
Oh, okay.
and he has agreed.
We
Oh,
just
one kind, okay.
we
Yeah,
just
I'm
rock paper scissored for it, so Brad
You
got it.
lost.
But
You won.
this is going to be a big decision for the
Yeah.
county, and
It is.
I think it's more. I want to get at least somebody from each committee involved so they can go back and report to each committee. I don't plan on spending, a lot of meetings, but it's very important. I want to make sure we do it right. Whatever system we pick and whatever engineering group we pick. Any questions on that? Other than,
Before we do the subcommittee approval, there was a couple questions that came up we were talking about it last night at finance. Did the second company that proposed the engineering propose the same type of system? In their construction estimate? So they had a little bit lower percentage of design to the total bid, but were they bidding the same type of system?
well, they're more or less giving us how can I say it, their idea of any system, but we have to decide on what they have to help. They're going to help us decide. They can't develop a plan until we decide what system.
Okay, because the first design firm was very specific about the variable refrigerant system. So I was just trying to, we were just noodling on, was it apples to apples, like their cost estimate? Because the guy that
It's
came
pretty
here,
close.
okay, because the guy that came here said he was erring on the high side of a variable refrigerant system, and I just was asking if the other person had a lower initial design percentage, but then were they looking at the same type of system, and so were we comparing things? But what you're saying is it's kind of an umbrella quote for any type of system, and then we'll go from there.
Pretty much, yes.
Okay, all right.
And I don't think we're 100% sold on the VRF, but we're going to look at everything, and that's why I want more involvement from the board members.
Okay, so, do we have a motion for this committee?
I'd make a motion to approve the subcommittee members as discussed and as outlined.
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Second by Mr. McCleary. All in favor? Opposed?
And for the record, we will meet next Tuesday night at 5 o'clock in this room before the solar
Hearing.
hearing.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, can we do that, Ryan? Law Library?
Yep, that's fine.
Thank you. Other than that, any other questions on anything? Our next meeting is June 12th, 6 o'clock in the Law Library.
Thank you, Mr. Bellis, and thank you for the guys that volunteer to be on the committee. This is very important. It's a big project, so we need to make sure it's done properly. Legislative and judicial, Mr. Rich.
Committee met this evening, Mr. Chairman, at 5:45. We reviewed bills to the circuit clerk, juvenile detention center, probation department, public defender, state's attorney, and supervisor of assessments. All the bills were in order. As we went through our agenda, we're looking at to change amending the county code as requested. This will be in your packet to take action on next month, but we're going to set the joint board of review. That'll be a 2-year term, renewable November of every even year. We also, with the county code, we're going to attend to the special meetings and how that be handled with the petitions. It's nothing really new, but it's just an improvement. We also talked about wind farm updates. We're going to have to get a wind farm ordinance. There's people wanting to do wind farms. There's been a big success on our solar farms. We passed that just in time. The clerk reported they've got 2 solar farms in the hopper, and they're covering our expenses, and that all became from our resolution that we passed as far as our county code. So we're getting reimbursed for our time and effort. On the one solar farm, the next meeting, the public meeting will be the 21st at 6 p.m. in this room. It'll be for the McNay farm. So it's a public meeting. Anybody wants to attend, please attend. We also discussed in the county code employee reimbursement. We're trying to bring that up to date. As with everything with the economy, the figures weren't right, so we're trying to set some standards on that, and that'll be also in your packet for next month to approve. We had two appointments. I would ask the clerk to read them. Number one.
We have an appointment of Phil Doe as a trustee of the Liberty Fire Protection District effective the first day of May of the year 2024.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Rich,
I'll second it.
second by Mr. McCoy. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Appointments are approved.
Number two, please.
Appointment of Craig Cam as a trustee to the Ursa Street Light District effective the first day of May of the year 2024, expiring the first Monday of May of the year 2027.
Motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Motion by Mr. Rich, second by Mr. McCoy. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Appointment is approved.
We have one special liquor license. I'll have the clerk read.
Special one-day permit for Friends of Unit 4's Fall Festival to be held on September 14th of this year at the Adams County Fairgrounds from 1 p.m. until 11:59 p.m.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Mr. Rich,
Second.
second by Mr. Kirkhoff. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Special permit is approved.
We had no pyrotechnic displays to approve. No executive session. Our next meeting will be June 12th at 5:45 in the boardroom. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Rich. Public Health and Safety, Mr. Sorensen.
We met in the ROE room at 5:37 tonight. We went through all the bills. They were in order. We also approved the minutes. Jessica Freeze reported that they are still working on the siren system. They are at full staff. And she wanted to tell everybody about the EMS day at the mall on May 19th. The coroner, he had reported 82 deaths, 1 autopsy, 1 abandoned remains, and 35 cremation permits were issued. As far as the sheriff's department, they had 1 new hire and 1 departure, and he was in court services, or court security. And there's no other issues there. As far as that, Paul mentioned that year to date there was 82 clients. He also has noticed an uptick in VA request, and Emily has passed her VSO exams. Now they have two VSO officers in the building. Paul also met last week with a VA secretary in Chicago. There was no new business or old business, and the meeting was adjourned at 6:33. And our next meeting will be in the ROE room on June 12th at 5:30. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Mark, what's the jail population this month?
Oh, jail. We didn't go over that. I don't, Tony, what's that? 90. We didn't cover that. I don't
Anything else,
have any
Mr.
other.
Sorensen? Okay. Finance, Mr. Austin.
I wasn't at the executive. There was no executive meeting? You didn't have one? Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We met yesterday, May 13th, 6 o'clock here in the county boardroom for a 2.5-hour finance meeting. So thank you to my committee for hanging in there the whole way. And Mr. Hankamp.
And you're not going to do that tonight, right?
No, I'm not. I'm going to be, brevity will be my theory tonight. We had reviewed all the bills, seemed to be in order, and we had no other reports or speakers. We have a couple resolutions here. If the clerk could read A first, please.
Resolution number 2024-05-205-015. Resolution to increase the salary of the Adams County Coroner from the term beginning on December 1st, 2024 through November 30, 2028.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Austin,
Second.
second by Mr. Fisher. Any discussion?
We just looked at the UCCI salary survey that's submitted into by about 40 downstate counties. Came to some terms with that. Ryan, did you end up sending that out, filled out? Okay, we came to some terms with that, and basically it's pretty much commensurate with like a 3% per year raise beginning at the new, right after the election, and then carrying through for 4 years. So the Finance Committee was unanimous in their approval.
Any other questions?
Yeah,
Since
Brett,
it's-
could you just speak to like what percentile that puts as far as size of the county and
So Adams County is the 23rd largest county out of 102, which puts us at the 78th percentile. We use numbers that were around the 75th percentile because that's actually broken out in that study. And then we looked at some counties that were around our population that also had full-time coroners, because that isn't always a thing for a county. A lot of times they have part-time coroners. So we have a full-time coroner. And so we looked at 6 counties around that at the 75th percentile to come up with the numbers.
thank you.
Since it's a salary, I think I'll do a roll call vote.
John McCoy,
Yes.
Tim Finley,
Yes.
Robert Rich,
Yes.
Brad Poulter,
Yes.
David McCleary,
Yes.
Les Post,
Yes.
Teresa Bachhold, Joe Zanger,
Yes.
Brent Fisher,
Yes.
Todd Dusterhouse,
Yes.
Brett Austin,
Yes.
Keith Calloway,
Yes.
Mark Sorensen,
Yes.
Bart Fletcher, Raheem Camper,
Aye.
Dave Bellis,
Yes.
Marvin Kirkhoff,
Yes.
Mark Dietrich, Steve McQueen,
Yes.
Travis Cooley,
Yes.
Ken Snyder.
Yes.
18 in favor, 3 absent.
18 in favor, 3 absent. Resolution's approved.
If the clerk could read Resolution B, please.
Resolution number 2024-05-421-016, resolution to increase the salary of the circuit clerk for a term beginning December 1st, 2024 through November 30, 2028.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Austin,
Second.
second by Mr. Finley. Discussion.
This is a slight wrinkle on this. It's a resolution, but it's a resolution recommending actually the Adams Circuit Clerk's salary. Ultimately, the salary apportionment is up to the circuit court and the chief judge themselves. So we sat down and looked at the comps the same way. So we are recommending to the circuit court a certain level, which amounted to also being in line with, by the end of this next term, being in line with the 75th percentile as well, and having those staged raises through the 4 years of the term. So we're setting this out as a recommendation, and we would hope that the circuit court would see our methodology on that and approve that also.
Any questions?
Do we pay her payroll, or does that come out of the courts?
We pay her payroll.
Roll call vote.
John McCoy,
Yes.
Tim Finley,
Yes.
Robert Rich,
Yes.
Brad Poulter,
Yes.
David McCleary,
Yes.
Les Post,
Yes.
Teresa Bachhold, Joe Zanger,
Yes.
Brent Fisher,
Yes.
Todd Dusterhouse,
Yes.
Brett Austin,
Yes.
Keith Calloway,
Yes.
Mark Sorensen,
Yes.
Bart Fletcher, Raheem Camper,
Aye.
Dave Bellis,
Yes.
Marvin Kirkhoff,
Yes.
Mark Dietrich, Steve McQueen,
Yes.
Travis Cooley,
Yes.
Ken Snyder.
Yes.
18 in favor, 3 absent.
18 in favor, 3 absent. Salary is approved.
Mr. Clerk, you will fill in the requisite numbers on that and make sure that the chief judge gets that one for the circuit clerk.
Yes.
Additional fund appropriations, A, if the clerk could read that, please.
Additional fund appropriation from Jared Welch, Public Health Director, in the amount of $25,000 to expense account 601-601-5635. Public health expenses for revised budget amount of $200,000 and $300,000 to expense account 601-601-5640. Nursing expenses for revised budget amount of $650,000 and $300,000 to revenue account 601-601-4250. Revenue immunizations for revised budget amount of $654,000 and $98,000 to revenue account number 601-601-4725. Grants other for revised budget amount of $575,000.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Austin.
Second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Bellis. No, second by Mr. Cooley. Discussion.
This is the health department is increasing their budget line item to recruit and retain nurses as those expenses go up. They are using a combination of a grant that they got and some reserve funds in other accounts. So essentially budget positive because of the grant.
Any questions? Roll call vote.
John McCoy,
Yes.
Tim Finley,
Yes.
Robert Rich.
Yes.
Brad Poulter.
Yes.
David McCleary.
Yes.
Les Post.
Yes.
Teresa Bachhold. Joe Zinger.
Yes.
Brent Fisher.
Yes.
Todd Dusterhouse.
Yes.
Brett Austin.
Yes.
Keith Calloway.
Yes.
Mark Sorensen.
Yes.
Bart Fletcher. Raheem Camper.
Aye.
Dave Bellis.
Yes.
Marvin Kirkhoff.
Yes.
Mark Dietrich. Steve McQueen.
Yes.
Travis Cooley.
Yes.
Kent Snyder.
Yes.
18 in favor, 3 absent.
18 in favor, 3 absent. Fund appropriation is approved.
B, please.
Additional fund appropriation from Jim Frankenhoff, County Engineer, in the amount of $30,000 to expense account number 505-501-5105 GIS Fund Salary for revised budget amount of $97,000.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Austin,
Second.
second by Mr. Finley. Discussion.
It's just simply a recategorization of where they're going to draw the salary from that position. It's not a budget increase, though.
Roll call vote.
John McCoy,
Yes.
Tim Finley,
Yes.
Robert Rich,
Yes.
Brad Poulter,
Yes.
David McCleary,
Yes.
Les Post,
Yes.
Teresa Bachhold, Joe Zanger,
Yes.
Brent Fisher,
Yes.
Todd Dusterhouse, Brett Austin, Keith Calloway,
Yes.
Mark Sorensen,
Yes.
Bart Fletcher, Raheem Camper,
Aye.
Dave Bellis,
Yes.
Marvin Kirkhoff,
Yes.
Mark Dietrich, Steve McQueen,
Yes.
Travis Cooley,
Yes.
Kent Snyder.
Yes.
18 in favor, 3 absent.
18 in favor, 3 absent. The fund appropriation is approved.
Well, let's roll on to C.
We have an additional fund appropriation from Paul Havermill, VAC Superintendent, in the amount of $100 to expense account number 631-631-5115 salary office staff for revised budget amount of $100.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Austin, second by Mr. Cooley.
It's just creating a expanded accounts in the new VAC budget, and as they begin to use the money that was allocated to them, they will flush out a more full budget, and so this is some salary lines that are being created.
Any discussion? Roll call vote.
John McCoy,
Yes.
Tim Finley,
Yes.
Robert Rich,
Yes.
Brad Poulter,
Yes.
David McCleary,
Yes.
Les Post,
Yes.
Teresa Bachhold, Joe Zanger,
Yes.
Brent Fisher,
Yes.
Todd Dusterhouse,
Yes.
Brett Austin,
Yes.
Keith Calloway,
Yes.
Mark Sorensen,
Yes.
Bart Fletcher, Raheem Camper,
Aye.
Dave Bellis,
Yes.
Marvin Kirkhoff,
Yes.
Mark Dietrich, Steve McQueen,
Yes.
Travis Cooley,
Yes.
Kent Snyder.
Yes.
18 in favor, 3 absent.
18 in favor, 3 absent. Fund appropriation is approved.
D.
We have additional fund appropriation from Anthony Foster, Director of Court Services, in the amount of $31,000 to expense account number 312-311-5860, equipment for revised budget amount of $31,000.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Austin.
Second.
Second by Mr. Finley. Discussion.
This is simply creating a more appropriate account for the expense of equipment that wasn't in their budget to date.
Any questions? Roll call vote.
John McCoy,
Yes.
Tim Finley,
Yes.
Robert Rich,
Yes.
Brad Poulter,
Yes.
David McCleary,
Yes.
Les Post,
Yes.
Teresa Bachhold, Joe Zanger, Brent Fisher,
Yeah. Yes.
Todd Dusterhouse,
Yes.
Brett Austin,
Yes.
Keith Calloway,
Yes.
Mark Sorensen,
Yes.
Bart Fletcher, Raheem Camper,
Aye.
Dave Bellis,
Yes.
Marvin Kirkhoff,
Yes.
Mark Dietrich, Steve McQueen,
Yes.
Travis Cooley,
Yes.
Kent Snyder.
Yes.
18 in favor, 3 absent.
18 in favor, 3 absent. Fund appropriation is approved.
Letter E, please.
Additional fund appropriation from Sheriff Grutens in the amount of $10,000 to revenue account number 001-231-4624 reimbursement FBI hire back for revised budget amount of $10,000 and $10,000 for expense account 001-231-5724 hire back expenses FBI for revised budget amount of $10,000.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Austin. Second by Mr. Fisher. Discussion.
This is creating 2 new accounts for kind of a sub-budget under the Sheriff's Department for reimbursement of FBI hire back expenses that didn't. So as we spend money, we will apply for reimbursement and we will get money back. Right, Sheriff? All right.
Any questions? Roll call vote.
John McCoy,
Yes.
Tim Finley,
Yes.
Robert Rich,
Yes.
Brad Poulter,
Yes.
David McCleary,
Yes.
Les Post,
Yes.
Teresa Bockold, Joe Zanger,
Yes.
Brent Fisher,
Yes.
Todd Dusterhouse,
Yes.
Brett Austin,
Yes.
Keith Calloway,
Yes.
Mark Sorensen,
Yes.
Barb Fletcher, Ryan Heatcamper,
Aye.
Dave Bellis,
Yes.
Marvin Kirkhoff,
Yes.
Mark Dietrich, Steve McQueen,
Yes.
Travis Cooley,
Yes.
Kent Snyder.
Yes.
18 in favor, 3 absent.
18 in favor, 3 absent. Fund appropriation is approved.
Could the clerk read F, please?
Additional fund appropriation from the Honorable Scott Larson, judicial, in the amount of $291,000 to revenue account number 433-441-4615. Tech Mod Grain in the amount of $291,000 to expense account number 433-441-5713. Tech Mod Grain, all expenses for revised budget amount of $291,000.
Move to approve.
Motion by Mr. Austin,
Second.
second by Mr. Poulter.
Discussion. Good work by the Judge Larson, judicial, getting a $291,000 grant, courtroom improvements, along with some money towards the circuit clerk department as well. So found money. Good job.
Questions?
Can we use some of that money for the new carpet in the courtrooms?
You will have to petition the Honorable Scott Larson for that.
Nice try. Roll call vote.
John McCoy,
Yes.
Tim Finley,
Yes.
Robert Rich,
Yes.
Brad Poulter,
Yes.
David McCleary,
Yes.
Les Post,
Yes.
Teresa Bockold, Joe Zanger,
Yes.
Brent Fisher,
Yes.
Todd Dusterhouse,
Yes.
Brett Austin,
Yes.
Keith Calloway,
Yes.
Mark Sorensen,
Yes.
Barb Fletcher, Ryan Heatcamper,
Aye.
Dave Bellis,
Yes.
Marvin Kirkhoff,
Yes.
Mark Dietrich, Steve McQueen,
Yes.
Travis Cooley,
Yes.
Kent Snyder.
Yes.
18 in favor, 3 absent.
18 in favor, 3 absent.
All right.
Transfer is approved.
Let's wrap it up with G.
We have a transfer of fund appropriations from Paul Havermill, Superintendent of the VAC, in the amount of $30,000 from 631-631-5105 salary assistant superintendent VAC for revised budget amount of $20,000 and $30,000 to 631-631-5115 salary office staff for revised budget amount of $30,100.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Austin, second by Mr. Sorensen. Discussion.
This is filling the accounts that we just created in C above, which is allocating for salary. And you'll see a few things from the VAC over the next few months as they create a more detailed budget, revenue and expense budget items.
Any discussion? Roll call vote. Last one, I promise.
I hope. John McCoy,
Yes.
Tim Finley,
Yes.
Robert Rich,
Yes.
Brad Poulter,
Yes.
David McCleary,
Yes.
Les Post,
Yes.
Teresa Bockold, Joe Zanger,
Yes.
Brent Fisher,
Yes.
Todd Dusterhouse,
Yes.
Brett Austin,
Yes.
Keith Calloway,
Yes.
Mark Sorensen,
Yes.
Barb Fletcher, Ryan Heatcamper,
Aye.
Dave Bellis,
Yes.
Marvin Kirkhoff,
Yes.
Mark Dietrich, Steve McQueen,
Yes.
Travis Cooley,
Yes.
Kent Snyder.
Yes.
18 in favor, 3 absent.
18 in favor, 3 absent. Transfer is approved.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Also, we had a discussion just briefly about insurance. Mr. Finley brought up a couple questions. We are running at a budget deficit right now. We've had a few larger health cases that have hit our stop loss deductible. But we did carry over a surplus from last year of about $330,000. So we're still net positive, and we had budgeted for the same level of expense this year as last year. So technically, we're still a little ahead right now, but we are watching to see where we're at with some of those larger cases, and if we would have to move funds into that at some point, we would talk about where that would come from. But right now, everything seems to be okay. Discussion and possible action. American Rescue Plan Act. We had a fairly detailed discussion last night. I wanted to mention that between the county clerk and the county treasurer, that all of the ARPA expenses are being kept up to date and are on the website. There's a link that we sent out at one point, but I think it's on the page.
It's under public records.
Yeah, it's under the page of public records. So anyone in the public can look that up and see where we are as a percentage basis, what's gone a little over, what's stopped under. We are looking at 5 things that have had no money spent. So Adams County Fair restrooms is something that we want to ask about. Of course, we just started the Adams County Housing Program, so that makes sense. And then the second allocation to the Adams County Fairgrounds, both of those haven't been spent. A dollar hasn't been spent yet, so we want to follow up with that, and will. And then we had the question about the public defender software for the county clerk public defender software. Ryan, you were going to look into that and see what money they spent and get back to us.
Yeah, I can't confirm. It's down to zero. The spreadsheet just needs to be adjusted. To
So
show
they
that.
spent the full 55,000.
Yes.
Okay, and that's 100% complete.
Yes.
Okay, and then the Quincy Riverfront, which was an allocation to a utility burial line project, which doesn't look like it's going to be going forward. So we can have that discussion in the future. But that was the other one. And then I know for a fact, because I've talked to him several times, the Ursa Water is still an effective project. They've just run into a lot of problems, including some failure with their wastewater lagoon. So they're working diligently on that, and they would still appreciate us keeping that money in place. So fairgrounds, the restrooms, the housing program, and the Ursa Water are all effective projects. Quincy Riverfront we can discuss at a future meeting. And then we're going to update this. And what it looks like it'll shake out is that we have about $288,000 of unallocated money, possibly more if any of these shake out to be different. And so we went over that, and we have to allocate the remainder of the money by the end of 2024. So that was just two things. Just wanted everyone on the board to know that that's on the website and the public, and that also that we'll be keeping it updated, and we're looking into where some of these projects haven't started yet and why. And I think we got a pretty good answer on everything. So that was our discussion on that.
Brett,
Yes.
the fair board has started their project. They got a check today for 40,000.
Okay,
So
good.
they are in motion.
Okay,
on the
that's
fair.
good. Yeah, we just want to make sure that ratio of timeline is right, because the money has to be spent by the end of 2026. And we all know painfully that capital projects with construction as part of it are very long term right now. So
One thing I was gonna add is, there were some invoices turned in. We had a little hiccup because, some of the building project or building material hasn't arrived yet, because everything is running late.
Mhm.
But
Could you use your
it's
microphone?
anticipated that'll all be built by June.
Yeah, use your microphone.
It's anticipated that that building will be built by the middle of June.
okay. Well, again, this was just a review to make sure that we were tracking what things were and weren't going to happen. As far as the one with the Quincy Riverfront, that's probably a discussion we'll have to have, because that was very detailed to one project that doesn't look like it's moving forward. So we can discuss that at a later time. But again, just a review, and just make sure that that it's on the website and everyone can look at how we've spent the money.
Hey, Brett.
Yes,
Hey, what was allocated for the electric line on the river front?
it was 200,000.
200. Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Brett.
Yes.
I had a conversation with a couple of people a few weeks ago, and came up to potentially coming up with a $60 to $70 million bond for the riverfront redevelopment.
Go for it.
So
I
Just
like
curious.
I like where
we're
you're
gonna throw
headed.
that out. Yeah.
I heard a discussion about bonding as well to make a bigger impact at a faster clip. But right now, they have a Riverfront Development Corporation. They've got to come to us. That was the whole idea, was that they would come to us with projects, come to the city, come to the park district. So we'll see how that rolls out. But yeah, volunteer some time on the Riverfront Development Committee. You can give them your ideas.
We're still meeting once a month.
Right. Yep.
Ed, I got a quick question.
Yeah.
Or if you can say any participation or any on the grow.
Yes. Yeah. Good question. I hadn't just recently heard that there was 8. I think there were 28. I think contractors and people interested at the actual in-person meeting. Another 20 or so on an online training meeting, and I think they've gotten at least a dozen applications, some of them for the max amount of 100,000. So there's a couple of questions they have, and I need to dig into one of the questions was about how to build something that you would sell more quickly than the 5 year, and if that was going to be allowed. And by what we wrote and what we approved, you would say no, but there was a case to be made on one of the projects. So I think Grediff is gonna, with their evaluation board, is gonna run that through and see if, and maybe even come and request if there would be some sort of variance allowed for one of those projects. I don't know what the project is. That was just what was told to me. So yeah, some good participation, and it looks like enough participation that the first phase, which was about half of the money that was going to be allocated in this year, would be allocated if those go forward and if we approve them. Yep. Then we have a last item here, which is a real estate appraisal for a parcel number, which needs authorization from the county of Adams. Basically, Georgine Zimmerman came to our finance meeting and asked for an increase in funds in her appraisal account in her budget, because she doesn't have enough funds to go out and get this large of an appraisal, because it's a fairly big property. It's a ag property, a co-op property, I guess you would say, and they're fighting their real estate appraisal, and I think they're asking for somewhat around a 50 or 60% reduction. So our county assessor does not feel that that is a warranted request, and our finance committee agreed with that. So we authorized her to go ahead with a real estate appraisal. We can find that money in contingency. It's well worth it for us to get a real appraisal for this. And then also we have a lot of participation. The Camp Point School District, and I believe the village and one other taxing body are picking up a portion of it too. So we're only on the hook for about $4,400 of $15,000 of the appraisal. So definitely need to support her in that process. This has been something that's been ongoing through a lot of protests, and I think even one was sent out. I think the clerk sent one out here recently by an email too, which was another one with a hotel here in town, I believe on Broadway. So these things are, it's absolutely fair and valid for people to ask and protest and their valuation, and that's a process we go through, but it's also fair for us to push back and say that we believe with the comps and the appraisal that we got that we're right on target with that. I think Georgine does a great job of that, of being fair but firm, as we would say. So that was what we did, and we authorized that in finance, and we'll probably have to come back with a budget appropriation of that, but it was a fairly small amount of money, and she needed to get going with that. So we had a unanimous approval of that in finance. I don't have any other business, and we will meet on June 10th at 6 o'clock in the county boardroom for the next finance meeting. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Austin. New business?
No report, no board member travel vouchers. We have reports from the Supervisor of Assessments, Board Review, Juvenile Detention Center, County Clerk and Recorder's Office, the Public Defender's Office, the Circuit Clerk's Office, Probation Department, and Information Technology. Monthly check register for April 2024 and fund summary report for April 2024, including revenue and expenses.
Motion to receive, file, and forward.
Motion by Mr. Dishhouse,
Second.
second by Mr. Zanger. Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? So ordered. Appointments.
The first appointment is for R. Kent Snyder to the Joint Review Board.
Motion approved.
Motion by Mr. Encamper,
Second.
second by Mr. McCleary. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Appointment is approved.
Appointment of Ryan Heecamper to the Quincy Enterprise Zone for a 2-year appointment.
Motion by Mr. Bellis,
Second.
second by Mr. Kirkhoff. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Appointment is approved.
We have appointment for Gloria Trader, Jan Poulter, Heather Leidendecker, each for a 3-year term of the Adams County.
Travis Cooley.
for a 3-year term on the Board of Health beginning July 1st, and also Travis Cooley for a 1-year term on the Adams County Board of Health beginning July 1st, 2024.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Rich, second by Mr. Austin. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Appointments are approved. Oh, discussion and possible action on child care programming and use of ARPA money.
No action, but just a quick discussion. One of the reasons we wanted to look at what money was not allocated or could become unallocated, I guess, on the ARPA was that we've had some requests to look into from the West Central Illinois Child Care Coalition, which has a lot of foundational support behind it. Child care is definitely an issue right up there with housing. We had a little bit of a discussion with it last night at finance, just to hit the high points, probably almost since 2018, going through COVID and emerging on the other side of that. About a third of the licensed child care providers in our area in West Central Illinois and Adams County have shuttered their doors, never reopened. And there's been about a 20% decline in coverage of child care for people in our community. And the expenses of child care have risen to the level that they compete with people's rent and mortgage payments. And so I've been to a couple meetings with the Child Care Coalition, and I asked them to formalize a request if they wanted to seek any unallocated ARPA money. And it obviously would be a good use of that money, but they would have to make a request and a plan for what they wanted to do and how they would approach it, whether it would be scholarship for training or recruitment money or facilities. They had a lot of different ideas. So I just wanted to put it on everyone's radar because it is a very, very large problem right with housing in our community and all across the nation, that people don't have adequate child care because it's a barrier to getting into the workplace. And it's also a drain on mental and physical health for a lot of families. So we'll see where that goes. And I just want to get it on the radar.
Thank you, Mr. Austin. Correspondence.
Correspondence from Ameren, Illinois on upcoming vegetation activities, and correspondence from a high-speed rail alliance informational packet.
Motion to receive, file, and forward.
Second. By Mr. Dushouse, second by Mr. Zanger. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So ordered. No executive session this evening. Next board meeting will be June 12th. Thank you all.